Well, thank you so much to you, Valen. Yes, welcome once again. Now we're talking about the benefits of broadcast media. You know, without these cameramen all around us here and all these facilities, you and I would not be privy to the goings-on in platforms like this. And it's absolutely crucial because you don't want people making decisions that affect you directly without you knowing. So because of this platform, we're able to know exactly what is being discussed and the way forward. And remember, we spoke about this earlier, Vision 2063. All right, now it's going to be accessible, at least the channel 404 on DSTV is going to be broadcast throughout the continent. Previously, we were just in South Africa and SADC regions. Listen, we are crossing borders now. We're going to be in 50 of the 54 countries, and we're going to hear a little bit more about that a little bit later today. But let's turn our attention on what's happening right here, right now. I'm joined by our reporters who've been keeping a close eye on proceedings, Aldrin St-Pierre and Zanele Buthelezi. Lady Jet, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning and thank you.
All right, and talking about being privy to the proceedings that are happening here, Aldrin, you're going to give us a recap of what happened yesterday and also days gone by, but isn't it interesting the way the MPs here conduct themselves? Discussion, robust, rigorous, and yet no one was chucked out of Parliament. But they take a critical look at the continent, do they not?
No, definitely, and that's really what intrigued me yesterday as well. You know, sitting behind them and listening to all the debates and the arguments that have been made, specifically on this report, looking at the illicit financial flows. And I remember one MP saying that why, Mr. President, referring to the former President Thabo Mbeki, in this report, didn't you include that some politicians, for instance, benefit from these illicit financial flows? He even went far as saying that they connive, and it's something that needs to be looked at. And you really get that sense that this is a platform where MPs feel that they can really voice their concerns without any fear that they might be attacked or something like that, or they might be heckled by any of the other MPs here. I think the only concern for this platform is that until this body becomes a legislative body, some say it will just remain a talk shop and a platform for robust debate.
Yeah, those executive powers are absolutely crucial in order to see on the ground a manifestation of what is discussed here. But something that was a bit interesting for me, and I saw this gentleman on Monday as well as yesterday and a couple of days gone by. A certain Mr. Floyd Shivambu is here in our midst as well, one of the MPs here present. And in his debates and discussions, we're seeing a very intellectual individual right there. So it's a little bit like day and night. There's not so much of the pay back the money, but more of substance there.
It seems as though that there's that persona swap, for instance. It's not the same Floyd Shivambu, the MP that we see in our parliament in Cape Town with his red overalls and chanting pay back the money. Right here, it is more argumentative. It's more based on intellectual stuff. Even yesterday when he mentioned the issue around maybe what we should start looking at is the ownership of the mines, who is extracting these minerals. And the former President Thabo Mbeki actually replied to that and responded and said that, yes, it is actually time that we should start having these conversations.
I have it on good authority that he impressed quite a number of people here present or who were yesterday. But Zanele, let's speak now about what we can expect today going forward. AU Chair, Commission Chair, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma will be here speaking to young people, but there's a little bit of a change in proceedings today. Please bring us up to speed with that.
Yes, this is a conference that involves young people. It is called an intergenerational dialogue. So it's a dialogue between what we may call the older generation as well as young people, where, I mean, if you remember, the AU Agenda 2063 commits itself to actually empowering young people and ensuring that they are innovators and they can play a meaningful role in building this continent. So this is part of that, of moving towards that direction and ensuring that young people also are involved in policy making decisions, which is something that we do not see a lot of happening currently. So this is one step of trying to ensure that the young people are participating. So there's a variety of topics that will be tackled starting today and ending tomorrow. So we'll see topics such as youth in conflicts. I mean, if you look at the issue of young people that are dying while they try to reach Europe, that is because of a lot of conflicts that are taking place in many countries in Africa, as well as the issue of poverty in many countries. So young people seek greener pastures overseas in countries, in European countries and in America. So those issues are expected to come under the spotlight. Education, I mean, even in our own country, the issue of education, it's very topical. So they will look at that. Issues of leadership, I mean, looking at young people playing a meaningful role in leadership positions. That's another issue that will be looked at. Leadership in Africa is something that we've heard a lot of MPs talk about during this sitting, complaining about poor leadership in many countries. And so we expect to hear what young people have to say and how young people can actually be molded into leaders that are needed to take this continent forward.
Indeed, and of course, because that Vision 2063 is one that may only see a few of the people here present still around at that time. So there has to be a lot of buy-in from the young people.
Yes, I mean, considering that about 65% of the population in Africa is under 35. So those people, the under 35s are considered as young people. So if you look at the Vision 2063, you expect a lot of those people to be there at that time and be able to make a meaningful role, play a meaningful role in taking forward this continent in terms of economic development in the continent, so that a lot of people are kept within this continent in terms of building it, as well as also, I mean, we heard President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya, talking about needing to industrialize the continent so that jobs are created and radicalization of young people is curbed, because now you have young people having jobs and having hope instead of looking for hope elsewhere and being drawn in by money, people or terrorists who have money and being drawn into activities that actually help to take back the continent instead of taking it forward.
Yeah, we'll have to leave it there at least for now. But as you've heard, these issues are multicultural, they're dependent on each other, and they go across the continent and even all over the world. The issue of youth unemployment, of course, are not just isolated to Africa, but all over the world. And so solutions is what we're after today, young people coming together to thrash out some of those issues, and we'll bring you regular updates on everything that goes on here. Do stay with us.